Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. We join you once again in light and love and peace and gratitude for all you guys joining us here today.
We do, thank you.
And again, we want to thank everybody at Patreon. We couldn't do it without your support over there. There's different tiers over there with different benefits. And at the Evolutionary, Patreon, and Archangel level, it does include sessions on a monthly basis. So what we want to talk about today is alchemy, lead to gold. But in regards to the bigger picture, again, there's so many allegories, there's so many things that may seem so blatantly obvious and to be taken literal, but are obviously, obvious to many, very, very symbolic.
They are, and it means a lot of things to a lot of different people.
And there's different layers to this. Turning lead to gold. The Philosopher Stone. There's myths and legends on this. Alchemy and ancient and mystical art isn't merely about the literal transformation of lead into gold. It's a profound metaphor for the journey of self-realization and enlightenment. But of course, this should be obvious. And yet there's even more than that. The practice transcends material wealth, delving deep into physical and spiritual realms. Through meticulous processes, alchemists aim not only to transmutate base metals into precious gold, but also elevate the human soul to higher states of consciousness. Yes, and for many, again, the symbolism of gold, it's got a lot of layers to it. Portals are also very interesting, and we ourselves are able to create portals. We are multidimensional beings. What does that really mean? It means that we operate on more than one dimension, multidimensional. It's normal, it's natural for us to be operating on more than one dimension or density. And yet, so many people only believe what they can see, but they can't see their Wi-Fi. They can't see the cell phone signal. They can't even see, necessarily the very air that they breathe. And so, do they not believe in those things? You can't see the radio signal coming through. Again, you can't see the actual energy from the remote interacting with the TV to change the channels. But it's real. There's so much more than meets the eye. Alice in Wonderland. Alice, there's rabbit holes to go down, right? A lot of Mad Hatters around. By the way, the Mad Hatter is a reality as the top hats that they used to put on their heads to give them, more stature. Literally, we're making people mad. And that's why we have that term, Mad Hatter. We have so many toxic chemicals introduced into humanity to keep humanity from thinking clearly and sharply. And we have the Large Hadron Collider going on. CERN. You know CERN. Yeah, what do they do? Well, they smash things together. Well, do they open portals? Do they allow demon infestation on Earth? Is this part of a bigger plan going on? How about this one? Near-miss collisions between high-energy lead nuclei at the LHC generate intense electromagnetic fields that can knock out protons and transform lead into fleeting qualities of gold nuclei. Oh, this is fun. In a paper published in Physical Review Journal, the ALICE collaboration reports measurements that quantify the transmutation of lead into gold in CERN's Large Hadron Collider. Transforming the base metal lead into the precious metal gold was a dream of medieval alchemists, so we are told. This long-standing quest, known as Chrysopoeia, may have been motivated by the observation that dull gray, relatively abundant lead is of similar density to gold, which has long been coveted for its beautiful color and rarity. It was only much later that it became clear that lead and gold are distinct chemical elements and that chemical methods are powerless to transmute one into the other. With the dawn of nuclear physics in the 20th century, it was discovered that heavy elements could transform into others either naturally by radioactive decay or in the laboratory under bombardment of neutrons or protons. Though gold has been artificially produced in this way before, Alice collaboration has now measured the transmutation of lead into gold by a new mechanism involving near-miss collisions between lead nuclei at the LHC. Extremely high-energy collisions between lead nuclei at the LHC can create quark-gluon plasma, a hot and dense state of matter that is thought to have filled the universe around a millionth of a second after the Big Bang, giving rise to the matter we now know. However, in the far more frequent interactions where nuclei just miss each other without actually touching, the intense electromagnetic field surrounding them can induce photon, and photon nucleus interactions that open further avenues of exploration. And so the electromagnetic field emanating from a lead nucleus is particularly strong because the nucleus contains 82 protons, each one carrying one elementary charge. Moreover, at the very high speed at which the lead nuclei travel in the LHC causes the electromagnetic field lines to be squashed into a thin pancake transverse to the direction of the motion, producing a short-lived pulse of photons. Often this triggers a process called electromagnetic dissociation, whereby a photon interacting with a nucleus can excite oscillations of its internal structure, resulting in the ejection of small numbers of neutrons and protons. To create gold, a nucleus containing 79 protons, 3 protons must be removed from a lead nucleus in the LHC beams. It's impressive to see that our detectors can handle head-on collisions producing thousands of particles while also being sensitive to collisions where only a few particles are produced at a time, enabling a study of rare electromagnetic nuclear transmutation processes. The ALICE team uses the detector's 0-degree calorimeters, to count the number of photon nucleus interactions that result in the emission of 0, 1, 2, and 3 protons accompanied by at least 1 neutron, which are associated with production of lead, thallium, mercury, and gold, respectively. While less frequent than the creation of thallium or mercury, the results showed that the LHC currently produces gold at a maximum rate of about 89,000 nuclei per second from lead-to-lead collisions in the ALICE collision point. Gold nuclei emerge from the collision with very high energy and hit the LHC beam pipe or collimators at various points downstream, where they immediately fragment into single protons, neutrons, or other particles. The gold exists for just a tiny fraction of a second. So isn't this all fascinating? It is interesting, is it not? And yet, how does this relate to the bigger picture? The Philosopher Stone is that mythical alchemical substance believed to have the power to transform base metals into gold or silver and to create an elixir of life that could grant immortality. Ooh, immortality. Oh, isn't that what... aren't vampires said to be immortal? Well, until they see the sun, and then they turn to dust. Again, we're familiar with Harry Potter. We're familiar with all these ancient stories. It's pretty fascinating to see the myth and legend. But what are they really talking about? Well, if we jump over and look at the myths and legends of the Anunnaki, well, they created humans according to the myths and legends of the Sumerians, which again recognize that the Sumerians and the Sumerian Akkadian culture over there in the Fertile Crescent were really, truly the first of this current system that we've had in place. In other words, this is kind of like the origin point of the dark matrix being created here on planet Earth. And, according to their legends in Zecharia Sitchin there, but others too. Again, Zecharia Sitchin is not the only person to ever translate anything or come up with any ideas. No, quite the opposite. Many things were translated by countless other people at this point in time, and there's literally hundreds of thousands of these Sumerian tablets, and so many of them are still, in fact, the vast majority are not even translated to this day. Yet we have a recurring theme of humans being created as a slave species to work the gold mines, yes, and other resources as well. But, again, this theory that the Anunnaki created humans as a slave race to mine gold on Earth has gained traction with many, many different people as time has gone on. In fact, there are those that attribute everything to simply Enlil and Enki and the bad blood between them. Well, as the stories go, when humans began to multiply and got too numerous, made too much noise, Enlil sent a flood and brought the population down in his first great reset, let's just say, using that term for familiarity. We do see evidence of gold mines in Southeast Africa that predate really Homo sapiens sapiens. Actually, they seem to occur about the same time that Homo sapiens sapiens occurs on the planet. And we know that there were many other species of humanoid beings on this planet, from, again, Neanderthal, Denisovans, many others, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Ramapithecus, Australopithecus. There's just a litany of different humanoid species that have existed on this planet. And then, even some that resemble hobbits. You can't make this stuff up, as well as giants. So was it all about the gold? Or was there, again, a symbolic aspect to it? Definition of Luch. Luch is a term that originated from metaphysical and spiritual community, particularly in the context of New Age beliefs. It refers to an alleged form of energy or life force that is generated by sentient beings, especially humans, during emotional experiences. According to some proponents of this concept, negative emotions like fear, anger, and suffering produce a more potent and desirable form of Luch, which may be harvested by non-physical entities or interdimensional beings for their own benefit. However, it's important to note that the concept of Luch is considered speculative, lacks scientific evidence. Yeah, absolutely, sure. Again, this is from the system, protecting the system. When we think about vampires drinking blood of humans, in fact, it can be a little bit more metaphorical. People do pull energy from other people. This is just a regular occurrence that happens all the time, often without even really fully consciously realizing that they are doing so. And you can term those beings psychic vampires, people who literally suck the energy off of others. And again, this is a common occurrence. You could feel it. You get into an argument, a fight, or what have you, and one person is pulling the energy from the other or cuts off the free flow of energy. This is something that just happens on a regular basis. But when we're talking about the Anunnaki creating human as a slave species, again, the most valuable thing with humans is not their hands, it's not their ability to work the mind. Certainly, a group of beings as advanced as those that come from the sky, the Anunnaki, those that come from the heavens, those that come from out there in the stars, could certainly just have drones, have robots just do that. If that's all you needed, why not just, look at what we're doing now. I mean, Amazon and fast food places are all going to be completely robotic. Why do you need humans? Well, because robots don't produce emotions. Robots don't have what humans have, which is the source spark inside them. We have source in us. We don't need any middlemen to go directly to the creator, to source. And many of these beings that we see out there are kind of soulless. They're kind of automatons. Many of the Greys, for instance, are completely robotic, and some are a combination of what we would call, robotics with literal flesh, created from harvesting organs and glands, often from cows and from other beings as well. We can look to Tesla, and we were just talking about the free energy that Tesla just took from the air, which, of course, ended up, all that information and all the knowledge ended up in the hands of 47's family member there, interestingly enough. Yeah, drill baby drill is really very silly when you get down to it. The fact is, energy is all around us. The supposed life force is very real. We wouldn't be alive without it. And yet, why haven't we tapped into it? Because again, free energy means the entire system collapses. When you look at Tartaria, they were pulling energy out of the ether. Then they are collapsed. Why? Because the system got rid of them. And again, if you just are taking things from a biblical perspective, you'll think every giant was evil. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Yes, certainly there were some that were very disagreeable, even dangerous. And yet, again, many times when beings are attacked, they will respond in kind. And there's many different giants. We have evidence of giants all over the world. We have stories all over the world. And again, the Smithsonian has gathered up as many bodies as they possibly can to hide that from us. When we look to these Tartarian buildings and we see, all these different spires that are designed to pull the free energy out of the very atmosphere. Many of them have been repurposed into certainly churches and buildings of worship, but other things too, including literally political buildings, again, everything that has to serve the purpose of the power structure of the dark matrix that has been in place for thousands of years. A lot of churches were built basically on ley line areas, intersections of life force veins, so to speak, where energy was flowing abundantly in order to harvest that energy and send it off planet. Literally, a lot of these spires now have been, instead of doing the original purpose of pulling energy for the people of this realm to utilize in a free manner, totally free, instead this energy has now been subverted and utilized to take energy from the people of this world and send it off-world. Yes, this is a big realization to understand what's really going on in this dark matrix and the true power structure. And this is also why we have incessant wars that wipe out any evidence of advanced civilizations, because they can't have us knowing that the very foundation of their system is all based on lies and illusion. And truly, when you take away the energy side of things in the monetary system, there's nothing they have of any power. Yeah, it's a lot to take on, and it's a lot to realize, and it might make your ears perk up. There's a lot more than meets the eye to everything going on Earth.
So much more, but this guy is cuteness overload.
This is adorable, so listen up, guys. You are the gold. Recognize that. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.